Can I pee first?
Yeah.
Sure, go ahead.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another Star Wars review. He's hurting himself. But today we're going to be talking about Star Wars The Last Jedi. Woo. Now, they have a little bit more appreciation for this film upon rewatch. They don't like it per se, but they have more appreciation.
No, it is still my... Yeah, we'll get... Yeah,
I still hate this movie! This is going to be like... They'll be doing something like the review parts of it. I'll be doing the ranting parts of this.
No, here, I'll go ahead and say... Try watching this movie with him. You won't be able to get through it. I promise you, if you watch this movie with him, you will run out the door.
Yes, because I can't watch this film again. I actually can't.
He was playing Candy Crush the entire time.
It was Homescapes, but yeah. Because I just couldn't. Okay. What did you guys like about this movie? And I'll chime in. Because you guys liked a lot more than I did.
I'll whip the list. I'm at this point. I'm known for my list.
I've ever seen you.
It is a lot. Like, it's a lot.
You're gonna have to pick and choose.
Like, it's a lot.
First and foremost, music is still really good.
Music is still incredible.
John Williams is iconic.
John Williams is really good, especially Kylo's theme is used to great effect in this movie.
All of the new themes are fantastic in these sequel films so far. A really cool opening shot. There's a lot of cool shots in this movie.
There's so many good shots in this movie.
Cinematography.
The visual effects of this movie are really good. But because of the fact that this is a 2017 movie, a big budget movie made by Disney, it kind of has to.
A lot of the shots in this movie look stunning.
It's true. The cinematography in the film is very good.
Yeah, like the first shot when you see them on the you see the Resistance on the base and they look up and there's like.
And you see the Star Destroyers coming from Lightspeed
while you're on the planet. I think that's really cool.
A lot of funny dialogue throughout this movie.
This movie's a lot funnier than I remember it being. Yeah.
I will say this. Mark Hamill tries his... I give the only funny dialogue I will give this movie because of Mark Hamill. Because once again, he's an incredible actor. He tried so hard.
Now, his character is not great. Not the worst.
We'll get to that.
He's not. I don't think he's the worst character in this movie, but he tried his.
But he's still bad.
He tried his hardest. A lot of the scenes, there's a couple scenes where he kind of acts like Luke, kind of acts like his old self. Whenever he's training Rey in that first part, whenever he meets with Leia at the very end.
That was a great reunion.
That was. I had enjoyed the entire last sequence really. A whole lot more than I initially did.
I did. The entire last scene, really.
I think it's because, this is probably, my fourth time watching this movie.
This is my
third.
This is my fourth time.
Mostly because I'm just, terrified of it, but...
Because the first time we saw it in theaters and we thought it was okay. We both rewatched it on our own time and we thought it was terrible. I watched it again when I was prepping for Rise of Skywalker when I was watching all these movies. And then he thought it was even more terrible. And I thought it was worse.
Okay.
My hatred just kind of stayed... my hatred just sort of kind of stayed the same now on fourth rewatch.
It's just there.
It doesn't. There. My hatred. I can't hate this movie even more because I already hate this movie as much as I possibly can. But again,
the video that Caden showed us, it kind of showed me why these. It doesn't redeem them in any way. It's not supposed to, but it shows them. It shows why they're the way they are because it was J.J. Abrams who made a straight to basics. Force Awakens with so many references.
And I do appreciate that Rian Johnson was trying to make it different. I appreciate that. But when you're trying to pretty much undo the first one in a trilogy, that is the worst possible decision you could make. I don't know
if I entirely agree with that. I think after rewatching it, it kind of feels a little more connected to The Force Awakens than I remember
more than I remember it, but it still doesn't feel...
I think the third film...
I disagree, because Rian Johnson straight up said he did not watch or read the script for Force Awakens.
That's true, but it still manages to feel connected, in my opinion. But once you get to the last one, I think is where it completely goes...
Because then JJ tries to follow up this.
Yeah. Because each movie is just contradicting the last one. It's just what screws the trilogy over. But anyways, we'll get to that next time.
What about something that you didn't like that we liked?
Oh, there's a lot.
Luke's death. me and Logan
let me just go ahead and get this straight away, because I'll just talk about it now. What they do to Luke Skywalker, they ruin this character. That scene. Like, what did you put in your notes when he yeeted the lightsaber?
Oh, I said Luke throws away his lightsaber just like the scriptwriters threw away his character.
Facts. When he chucks his lightsaber over his shoulder and it falls down the cliff, that's his character.
Now, the thing is,
he peaked in Return of the Jedi and even in The Mandalorian when he shows up. But then he does that, and I'm just like,
thing is, while watching,
what?
J.J. Abrams kind of does the same thing to Han. Because Han, all of his character arc that he goes through in the first three, in the original trilogy, gone. J.J. does the same thing to Han, but it's more noticeable in Luke because Luke was a more important character, and he was a Jedi. So they do the same thing. Ryan Johnson takes it a little bit too far.
Yeah, because JJ does the same with Han, but nowhere near as bad as Ryan does with Luke, because it's so much more noticeable.
Luke is in more of the movie.
Yeah, and it didn't really take much to kind of flip Han's character arc. I mean, he did grow and make changes in the original trilogy, but it wasn't that dramatic.
Exactly.
Now, Luke went through massive changes in the original trilogy.
They try to give a justification, and like you kind of understand it, but then you're like, so why are you a hermit now?
Yeah.
Me and Logan don't mind his... I have grown to appreciate his death scene.
I appreciate that entire last sequence. I think it was solid.
It was fine until it was revealed that it was like him projecting him as a force ghost.
I didn't hate the force projection thing. I think it was fine. I think it worked out.
I think it would have been so much better. I would not have hated this scene anymore as much as I do if how that scene ended was he's actually there, actually have a lightsaber fight, because there is not a single scene in this film where a lightsaber touches another lightsaber. Not a single scene. So it would have been fine if you actually had the fight on there. And then when Kylo strikes through Luke, have that be where he disappears into the Force, like Obi-Wan does.
Like Obi-Wan does.
That would have been.
But Ryan Johnson again didn't want to do any like references at all. He didn't want to do what JJ did.
It would have been better than what they did.
Well, it obviously would have. But I think what they do is effective.
I still think that movie was like littered with references.
There were a lot more references to that movie than I remember.
Like that entire last sequence of the movie is basically just like the battle on Hoth, but instead of snow, it's salt.
It's salt. But then in Force Awakens, that movie is just one big reference.
Right. It's just one New Hope.
But there were references in this. But
yeah,
I think. Yeah,
this movie wasn't enough for it to be called Empire Strikes Back 2. So
no,
I called The Force Awakens A New Hope 2, and I won't call this one Empire Strikes Back 2.
No, because
you can't even compare. You can't even compare.
That's an insult to Empire Strikes Back. Let's see.
One thing that me and Logan noticed was that right before Luke died, so the planet he's on, there's only one sun. But right before Luke dies, you see there's actually two suns on the horizon, which I think is awesome.
I never noticed that. It's a cool shot. I don't really know why.
It calls back to the very first time you see Luke on Tatooine. Really cool. I think that's really cool.
I never noticed it.
Yeah, I think that's really cool.
One thing this is another thing. The main three characters, Rey, Finn, and Poe. Every trilogy has their main three characters. You have the original trilogy with Luke, Han, and Leia. You have the prequels with Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Padme. They're all together pretty much right from the first movie. The very first ones with the original trilogy, they take a little bit into A New Hope to actually all get together. And about maybe around halfway through the movie, and it's the same with Phantom Menace. These three characters are not in the same scene together until the very end of this film.
Well, it's because Rey's literally, for the first two movies, is off doing her own thing.
I know, and that's my problem.
And Finn's just doing Finn stuff.
This is supposed to be this trilogy's trio.
So would you say that's an issue with The Force Awakens as well?
Yeah, okay. I will say that's an issue with The Force Awakens, because it's just the fact that this is supposed to be this trio, and it
didn't have to be a trio. They could be separate characters. They're allowed to be.
But they are. That's the thing.
I don't think they are, no.
They are more in
They're the three most important characters, but they are
But consider the fact that every trilogy has had one. We have the ones in the prequels and the ones in the original trilogy.
Well, George Lucas made those movies, so.
That's true.
I know, but that's the thing, is they set that up. And when you look at it, especially what they do in Rise of Skywalker, to where all of them are finally together. Because Finn's the only one that's interacted with both Finn's the only one that's interacted with both Poe and Rey. Poe and Rey do not meet until the end of the second movie.
Because Rey, for the most part, especially in this movie, is on a completely different planet. In the first one, she gets captured, and Poe is in the fighter while that's all happening. So I understand why they have not met, because Rey has not had Rey has not had an opportunity to meet him.
Yeah, I don't see a huge issue in that, really.
And I think that's stupid. Just talking about all of that, the fact that they all have their own adventures that they're on, they're
good.
Yeah. Well,
no.
I like that they're separate kids. They don't have to be a trio all the time.
No, that's not my.
We want to talk about separate adventures. We're going to get to separate adventures.
That's not at all what I'm talking about. It's the fact that pretty much 2 out of these 3 adventures don't matter. Finn on Casino World, stupid.
Space Vegas,
not needed.
Finn is not the reason those scenes are bad.
No. I'm saying his adventure. I'm not saying the character.
No, pointless. Oh no, absolutely pointless.
Because John Boyega is still. I think he gives a great performance.
Love John Boyega.
I think he gives a great performance in this movie. He really tries. Especially. Okay, I'll talk about another thing that I didn't fully hate. The fight with Phasma.
Good.
I like that.
Good.
Watching that back, I have a way more respect for that scene. It was really cool.
Yeah, it was cool because it's Finn's character.
This scene where he says "rebel scum," that's kind of cool.
She calls him scum, and then he says, "rebel scum."
Wasn't
that's cool.
Phasma. Okay, she was still wasted, but she wasn't. Yeah. She got that scene, which I thought was good.
She had more plot than Boba Fett did in the original trilogy.
That's true. People forget Boba.
Boba
became.
Boba took until Mandalorian and.
Yeah, Boba was popular just because people thought he looked sick.
Yeah, he was cool.
Just because people thought he was awesome.
The same with Maul too.
Maul was the.
Yeah.
Maul was in 6 minutes. Maul was in 6 minutes of that first movie. Phasma, I think that scene is really good because Finn's using that baton that Buddy used in the first one.
Yeah.
Again, that whole adventure in Casino World was stupid.
But
freaking Rose. What was her point?
Worst character in the movie. Don't at me. She's the worst character in the movie.
Yeah, it's either her or Holdo.
I don't know.
Holdo.
I think Holdo kind of contributed some.
Holdo at least. But the thing is, one thing. A lot of this movie's problems could be a much better movie. Not a good movie, but a much better movie if the characters would communicate.
Right.
Yes.
I had this thought the entire film, and I had this thought some in The Force Awakens as well.
And the main one is Holdo, the idiot lady that takes over for Leia when Leia does whatever the heck that is. Yeah, she does this plan to fill up the escape pods and go to this nearby planet. Does she tell Poe that? No. And Poe gets commits mutiny or treason for no reason because whenever Leia does tell him the plan that Holdo had, he's like, dang, that's a good plan.
That entire movie, The Force Awakens had bits, and I'm sure we'll revisit this exact topic in the next movie. But if the characters would just properly communicate...
This would be a better movie than it is. Not good, but better.
I don't know, it would be a short movie.
It'd be a short movie.
It'd be a really short movie
because they would actually be effective in what they were trying to do.
I wish it would be shorter because this movie is 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours?
This is the longest Star Wars movie.
I know. I felt like I was being tortured.
It's longer than Revenge. I know for a fact. I don't know if it's the longest, but I think it's probably up there if it is.
That's another thing. This movie is way too long. So many scenes feel like they're dragged out for way too long.
Do we want to talk about that old opening sequence?
Opening scene with the bombers?
With the bombers, do we want to talk about that?
They make Rose's sister the dude.
They try to make Rose's sister feel like she's such a big important character, and that's not the case.
I just kind of was confused. I know people say it's Star Wars, don't think about it too hard, but that's not how space works.
That's not how space works.
Not how space works.
Now, a couple times, the bottom of the ship is open. Yeah, there may be a force field right there or something. I hope there is, but there's not. Sure. She would be sucked out the bottom,
right?
Like Leia is later whenever they blow up the bridge. That's how space works.
That's how space works. Yeah, but then Leia does her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when Leia just all of a sudden like force pulls herself.
I think it's so stupid. It's kind of funny. I think it's funny.
It's comical. I don't think it needs to be.
No,
it's comical.
And she does that she does that whole thing with the hand on the.
Yeah, it's strange.
And then she passes out.
She just
for
goes
the rest of the movie.
But when she shows up, it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
This movie's
it has a lot of humor.
Funny.
It has a lot of humor. She walks through the door and shoots.
BB-8 is not as big of a part in this movie, but the parts that he's in, it's so effective.
Okay, BB-8 is goated.
BB-8 is great.
It's in my notes.
That's literally in your notes.
Great.
I just saw it. Yeah.
BB-8 is great.
And then he gets a arch nemesis with BB-9, where he's only in like 2 seconds of the movie, but it's funny.
That was funny.
He's only in 2 seconds of the movie, and they add him as a playable hero in Star Wars Battlefront.
I'm getting flashbacks.
Yes. What's we here? Finn's very first line in the film is Rey.
Which I pointed out.
I didn't notice that.
His second line in the film is "Where's Rey?" Fun fact. Have that written down.
Yeah, I know because
he like startles himself awake and he says Rey because he says it so fast.
Finn
I didn't
is
notice
very
it.
codependent.
They didn't notice. I was sitting there like
Finn is very Rey.
Yeah, because I was sitting there and I was just like, wait a minute. That was his first line was Rey, and you guys were like, wait, what?
Yeah, and then his second line was "Where's Rey?"
Finn gets worse and worse as movies go on.
I think so.
In Force Awakens, he's good.
He's really good.
In this movie, he's passable. He tries to do the right, and I think he should have died.
Yeah.
Rose saves him. Saves him. That would have been a good death for Finn.
I think so.
Because in the first movie, he like wants to desert. He wants to run away.
And he even wants to try and do it at the beginning of this one. It would be.
He's trying to run away to like get ready to go, but it's still running away.
It would have sucked,
but by the end,
it would have been a good end because of the fact that
he's going straight into it.
Let's talk about that scene real quick. When Rose. That scene where Rose is like driving in to knock me out of the way. That face she makes.
Oh yeah, they zoom in on it too. They like.
Where did she come from? Because in a previous shot, you see Finn going straight at the battering ram, and there's nobody around him, and he's going like top speed. So how does she catch up with him?
Plot convenience.
There's a lot of that.
There's plot holes. There's plot holes. There's plot holes in this movie.
Speaking of plot convenience, the fact that both Rose and Rey just happen to know everything.
Rose especially.
They just happen to know.
Rey, it's like she has the Force, whatever the heck.
Everything.
Rose knows everything.
It's the fact that they just know everything.
Rose knows how to disable the thing in what?
I mean, I see that with Finn sometimes too. But I guess because stormtrooper training.
But he was stormtrooper training. He had to go through all of it. I understand that more. But Rose
is like anytime a character.
They don't really give her much backstory.
And if she knows that much, why isn't she higher up in the resistance ranks? She's like a janitor, basically.
Something like that. Sanitation.
She cleans the pods.
You want to talk about not communicating? That scene where Rose and Finn first meet.
Yeah, that was another moment.
If he had just said, I'm trying to get this beacon as far away as possible because then Rey will come back here and die. Yeah. If he had said, I'm trying to protect a Jedi, go ahead, bud.
That's not what he says. And then Rose just calls her like, you're a traitor.
He tries to.
And I'm just like, Rose,
she's justified in tasing the heck out. That taser was strong, too. That taser.
No, like just forget lightsabers, forget blasters, bro. Just run around freaking zapping people with that thing. That thing was cool.
Why does she have that? A lot of this movie's things could be solved by communication.
Right.
Poe. In the first movie, he's great. This movie, beginning,
and like the first two, and like everything up until maybe like the final scene of this film, he's terrible.
He's awful. He gets a lot of people killed by not listening to Leia. He does blow up a dreadnought, which is cool and everything.
But he cost the ship like over half of its fleet.
And like all the bombers. And instead of listening to Leia, he would have saved a whole bunch of lives, stuff like that, whatever the heck. But then gets tased. Yeah, he's cool again whenever he does the mutiny because
he takes off his stupid hat and finally starts like thinking.
Oh wow, that's a good idea.
Oh, good idea.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because at the time he thought Holdo was stupid.
Yeah.
And everybody did, and so he does the mutiny thing. Does that, gets stunned by Leia.
And that would just be avoided if Holdo was like, okay, y'all. Here's the plan.
Here's the plan.
It's the fact that she was like, "Oh, I know you fly."
The reason
boys. You fly, boys. I'm just like,
the reason that
great.
Poe,
it's one of these kind of characters.
But I think the reason that Poe is bad in this movie is because of Holdo. It's not because of Poe. Not because of Oscar Isaac. He's a great actor, by the way.
Yes.
Not even because of Poe, the character himself. It's because of Holdo. She's bad.
Yeah.
It's Holder's fault to begin with because she just doesn't communicate her plan.
Right.
Pointless character.
Have we talked about the Holdo maneuver?
What if she had missed? Yeah, the Holdo maneuver.
Okay. So
I think it's hilarious.
They're starting to get the escape
funny.
pods. They're starting to get back to this planet. What's the planet called?
Crate.
And all of a sudden,
C-R-A-I-T.
the collector, what's his name?
The character?
The
Yeah,
code
the
breaker or whatever?
Codebreaker.
Yeah. He just like
I think that's just his
defects.
name.
He just like backstabs Finn.
Which makes sense for his character.
It does.
It does. It really does.
And then they start firing at the resistance, picking off each ship.
His actor's amazing, by the
And
way.
then also, Holdo just stands by there, lets like half the ships be destroyed, and then decides
to do something.
And you
Yeah,
know
like
what
when over half of them are dead.
And do you know what she does to do this? She takes that ship, turns it around very fast for some reason.
Yeah, I pointed that out. I
Lights,
said, how does
and light speeds through pretty much the entire fleet.
Death Star problem solved? Right?
Yeah, this
Do that
kind
to Death Star.
of
Why didn't they do this before?
Yeah, that, and also, like, I don't know if in past or in previous Star Wars canons that's how lightspeed worked.
Yeah, because how much is light speed even shown? It's not shown as much.
They don't talk about
It's
the
not
science
as, it's
of it
not as
much.
big of a thing in the original trilogy.
But,
as
like,
it is
Exactly, but it's just
in
like that they
prequels.
pulled this right out of. It's like the writers of this movie and just Ryan Johnson himself pulled this movie right out of his. It's terrible.
Leave it in.
And leave it in. It's
Okay, but I think it's funny to think about what if she had missed? What if she had
Skills
gone
high.
too up or too low? They'd have been like,
huh.
all right, we're dead now. and like Hux goes, what the heck was she doing?
Hey, another moment. Very cool cinematic shot though. I remember
that is a pretty cool shot.
I remember that one looked pretty cool.
I
in
do
the
agree,
theater.
and it's a good. I think it's a good like cinematic choice in the fact that they make it silent.
That was cool.
I think that's cool until she's already gone.
Yeah.
Gosh, and they use like an A-list actress too. They use the girl that plays the main character in Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Which I didn't realize until now because I hate this character so much. They use an A-list actor to play
I didn't realize
one of the worst
I
characters in the
didn't realize
movie.
that either because I was looking at
I love her. She's so great, but as this character, she's
I
awful.
rewatched Jurassic Park recently for my English class, and I was just like, "Oh yeah, that's her."
Yeah, and then she's gonna be in the new Jurassic
Give me a
World
new
too.
one. What else?
Yeah, that's just
got?
a big complaint. Is like I feel like there's a lot of things in this film they just throw in, and it's plot convenience.
like, hey, this one.
the light speed tracking thing. Hey, he's just
They
things
never
you've
explain
heard
that.
of,
They never.
and they're hardly gonna explain
They
it.
never explain that. You think they will? No.
They hardly do, and stuff like that.
Garbage.
I have a good thing to say. I think that the constant conflict in all these movies
True.
with Ben Solo
True.
is very
And
well
Ray
done.
and Ray in this
and
movie.
Ray, they
Especially in this movie.
I think they show her natural pull to the dark side very well, which is kind of important for the last.
I don't
film.
know if we said this in Force Awakens or not, but the way she fights. She does. Okay, so in Revenge of the Sith, you see Palpatine do this like
Right,
thrust
she
thing.
fights just
She
like
does that
move a couple times.
when she's training against the Rock.
The Rock.
against that rock with her staff. She does this,
against
Yeah.
The Rock. I didn't know Dwayne Johnson.
and
was
you're
in this.
like, yeah, Palpatine.
Yeah,
And you rewatch it, you're like, oh snap, Palpatine.
You can see a lot of hints in the
I
film.
will
Yeah,
say this,
100%.
I will
Almost
say-
like it was intended.
Again, I will
I
say
don't know if it
this.
was.
Like that whole
You
thing
think
with
they
Ray. Sure, why not? Because
I
again,
hate Ray.
Ray in this movie just
Hate Ray.
is worse.
She's annoying.
She really is.
She's not awful. She's just annoying to me. Master Skywalker. How many times does she say that? in this movie?
Skywalker.
What are we
No,
going
take
to
a
What are we
do?
going to do?
Take a shot every time she
She says Master Skywalker. I'd be dead.
Be not alive.
I'd be dead after the first shot because I want to die right
Also,
after.
I don't know why she calls him that because one, he's not a Jedi Master anymore. Two, she just met him.
True.
Three,
Well, it's because when they just meet, she doesn't know that.
three, she's so upset about like the Jedi have to end. She just found out that the Jedi were real. Because in the first movie, she
So I
thinks
thought that was a
That's the
myth.
in the
Yeah.
first movie, she tells Han Solo, "I thought the Jedi were a myth."
Yeah.
And when she first meets Finn, she's like, Luke Skywalker. I thought he was a myth.
And these movies
Yeah.
are back to back, which means there's no time between Force.
Last Jedi takes place like maybe like less than a week after Force Awakens,
Right.
at least.
like the scene where he throws the lightsaber away, that happens immediately after Force Awakens.
Right.
Yeah, like as soon as the credits roll on Force Awakens.
Now the stuff in space that could be happening in a different time. We don't know, but yeah, it happens immediately after. And she's so upset about the Jedi. She's like, "I want to be a Jedi so bad. You just found out they were real."
Found out they were real.
I don't. Yeah, right. Not Daisy again. None of the. It's none of the actors' fault.
Yeah, I still stand by. I think Daisy Ridley is a good actress. I really think she's trying her best to get
with
something
what she was given.
I think she's a better actress than these 3 movies show.
Yeah,
I've seen her in other stuff. She's really good.
Yeah, because we watched Chaos Walking.
It was solid.
Yeah, apparently it was like the biggest flop last year.
Really?
Yeah,
but
I like Chaos Walking. I think she was good in that film. I think she gives a good performance in these films. It's just the writing for this character is just so poor lazy.
Yes.
Understandable.
I will say this: I did not mind Kylo.
I think he's good.
I did not mind him.
He's much more intimidating.
Yeah.
In this movie without the mask.
I think he was.
I hate that the mask was destroyed so early on.
But then it gives us the cool looking Rise of Skywalker
reforged one. That one's really dope.
Awesome.
That looks cool.
Snoke is bad.
Snoke is confusing.
Okay. So Snoke.
Snoke is clueless.
What they do in the last film, when they try to set him as like he's this big bad like intimidating guy.
He's huge.
Then we first see him in this film. He's like the size of, and we don't know.
He's tall. No, he's tall. He's bigger than an average person, but he's not. It's not 50 feet tall.
But that's the thing is because we've seen him in the hologram. It's the most underwhelming reveal ever, and how he goes out is such a.
I don't know.
I think for the character, like how powerful the character was. He dies in a kind of crappy way, but the way he dies is kind of cool. Like with the bringing lightsaber forward and she catches it. Yeah. But that's not how he should have died. But it's a cool way to die.
How do you feel about them bedazzled robes, dude? He's like
he does have like gold robes, doesn't he?
No,
but I think it's so. The main thing I didn't have a problem as much with the way he dies is what he says before he dies. Because he senses that Kylo is about to kill someone, but he doesn't know who.
He just immediately assumes it's Rey.
Because he says he ignites the lightsaber, didn't say which one, and he said cuts down his true enemy. Because he is sensing the correct thing, just not who.
Just not to who.
And again, right after that, the choreography wasn't
not great.
Amazing.
I think that scene with the throne room with like all the fire around them, I think it looks cool.
It is pretty sweet.
Before that, the visual effects are still
great,
amazing.
And it should be.
It's just the fact that the choreography is still bad. There's apparently
I think the choreography.
Apparently there was one scene that you mentioned where they're fighting in the throne room, and
I'd like to see that.
And one guard ends up getting hit.
Yeah, there is a clip, like if you watch it in slow mo, there's like a video.
See, that probably happens in the prequel somewhere in the background. Like
I'm sure.
Fight or something like that.
I'm sure you could go to the Battle of Geonosis
and find a lot
of stuff like that.
Like they forgot to animate a droid.
Right, they forgot to animate a droid or something, and there's just some like Jedi in the background swinging and nothing.
Yeah,
and
I think the choreography in this movie is better than the scene in Force Awakens. It's because there's a lot more moving pieces to it, but the thing is, it's not much better.
Yeah, those Snoke guards are pretty cool.
They look sick.
They got those cool
I like the Imperial guards that guarded Palpatine better, but like they're very clearly based on them. The best thing to come from this movie.
We haven't talked about that.
Ben Swolo.
That's not where I was going, but yeah.
Ben Swolo is hilarious. I think it's funny. They knew what they were doing. It was supposed to be funny.
It was a thirst trap.
Why do his pants like cover his?
I don't know, man.
Here.
That's the fashion.
That's not how the Force works.
Yeah, that's not
the Force. Yeah. How come Rey and Solo? Yeah, pretty much Solo.
Yeah.
How come Ben and Rey just had this connection where they could just like talk to?
There's only 2 people that should be able to do that, and it's like Leia and Luke. That's it. Which makes sense because they're related. Or like if Luke did it with Vader or something like that.
But in this case,
that'd have been cool.
In this case,
it's just funny.
Why?
She could have looked in on him doing something.
Actually, no. They explain it in Rise of Skywalker, but it's a crappy explanation. We'll get to that.
Right?
Didn't Snoke say something about it in this movie?
I don't know.
I think he said.
Palpatine's the one that says something about it.
I think he says he took. I think he says you took the bait. I think Snoke says that briefly.
I don't know.
Yeah, that entire thing
Right.
was
It's
they don't
a little
explain it.
strange. They don't give much explanation.
I would say
but
my one other like good thing that I have is all the ships in this movie look really cool. Besides the bombers, those look stupid.
Those are kind of dumb. But
like Snoke's ship, it looks awesome.
Kylo's fighter.
Kylo's fighter.
Really cool. Kylo's like ship.
The ships all around were great.
I mean, the design and aesthetic of the movies are great.
The Dreadnought. The Dreadnought looks cool.
We have not talked about Yoda.
I think it looks. They make him look like the puppet.
Not just looks, but like that whole scene in general.
I think it's funny.
About that.
I think it's funny.
I think it's a good scene.
It's just because Yoda and what.
The lightning.
Yeah.
The lightning. He starts laughing.
I'll
it's so good.
I'll give him that. It was nice to see Yoda again.
It's funny.
I like that. I think it's good, and I think it's like.
And they don't do the CGI.
Right.
They don't do the CGI thing.
I
they do
appreciate
in
that.
prequels. They do Empire Strikes Back Yoda puppet.
Right.
It's like a remake of the Yoda puppet.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
And I like that how that whole scene is just kind of moves in the direction of the Jedi Order is a bunch of BS.
Yeah. At first glance, you kind of think he looks weird because the last main movie before this, he was CGI in the prequels.
Right. I don't care about how he looked.
But the thing is, he looks like the puppet. Because it's just a remake of the puppet, but it's off-putting at first for sure.
Yeah, I like that whole scene. I thought
and the fact that he can control lighting, I think it's just funny.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Do we want to go and get to the ratings, or you guys have anything?
Sure.
You guys go first.
We'll go first. I think I'm gonna go. My rating on this film or my entire
has it changed since you walked in?
Since I walked in,
you said you had a
no. I kind of came in with a set expectation, and it kind of met that. But it is a lot better than what I initially rated it. I think, like a couple months ago, I would have given this movie probably like a 3 out of 10. I'm gonna give it a 5 now. I have a lot more respect for it. I see what Rian Johnson was trying to get across. I still think there's a lot of issues, way more issues than The Force Awakens.
Hold on, did you say 5?
A 5 out of 10.
Christian, we have our own opinions, my friend.
I'm giving it a 5 out of 10.
I just want to make sure I heard you right. Okay.
I'm giving it a 5 out of 10. And I think that's where it sits for me after reconsidering everything.
So you think it's okay?
I have more respect for what Rian Johnson tried to do.
Well, that's still by far the lowest that a Star Wars movie has gotten in our reviews. So
right.
That's still by far.
It's gonna get lower.
The lowest, I think.
It's gonna get lower.
The lowest I think was lowest I gave was Phantom Menace.
Yeah, you gave Phantom Menace like a 6?
No, you gave that a 7. Lowest you rated was Force Awakens.
It was Force Awakens. I gave it 6.5. Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Lowest I rated was Phantom Menace.
Which that's still above average, but
yeah.
Right. No, I'm sticking with a 5 out of 10.
I'm gonna go. Do you want to go first?
You go.
Okay, you
go. I agree with Logan on the fact that this movie is better than. Now, keep in mind, better than I originally remembered does not mean it is a good movie by any means of the imagination, by any stretch of the imagination. It's better than I initially remember it being for some reason. It's the same kind of thing as Attack of the Clones. It's it had no business being better than
right.
Going in, I was expecting it to give it a 2 or a 3. I'm gonna say 4.
Okay.
I'm gonna say 4 because I will say it has plenty of drawbacks. The communication is awful, but there are good parts of this movie.
Right.
the way everything looks. Some of the characters are actually funny.
Right.
Mark Hamill tries his darndest to make his character good.
Sure, and I believe some of the characters are just well written.
The characters are well written at times, and there are good things about this movie. I don't think you can say that there aren't. It's the worst movie ever made, but it's your least favorite. Maybe not the worst movie ever made.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna stick with 4. I'm gonna go with 4.
So.
Oh no.
Oh no.
There we go.
So, this movie.
I'm interested.
Even after
Okay.
rewatch,
There we go.
I still stand by that this is my actual least favorite movie of all time. Rewatching this movie was a trial and a tribulation to get through.
You make it sound biblical.
It was.
You make it sound like a biblical proportion. It was the 10th plague.
This movie did have a couple of funny moments in it, some good, the actors do. No, I'm talking about acting.
Oh,
in terms of
I
performances.
I was just surprised. I've never heard you say anything good about this movie besides the
Because,
one.
well, it's because I'm mostly talking about acting performances. Because again,
Yes.
people like Mark Hamill,
Oscar
they
Isaac.
try. Oscar Isaac. All the actors really, really try.
There's not.
I don't blame the actor because I think
There's
the
not
actors,
bad acting in this movie. I don't think.
No,
Besides Rose.
I will get.
Even
But
then, I don't think
it doesn't change the fact that the couple of scenes that I maybe had a chuckle at was mostly just stuff like from Mark Hamill.
He laughed at a scene. I was surprised.
But because it was something with Mark Hamill.
Yeah,
Just because
it
it was
was
something I didn't expect. But that's just more because
I forgot what it was.
it was something towards the beginning of the movie.
It was when he first
Because
shows
you
up.
can tell Mark Hamill really tried to make.
You can
this.
tell Mark Hamill
He
is.
really tried to put something into this because even Mark Hamill himself, before Last Jedi came out, was
this
trying to
movie is
subtly
not
warn
good.
people about this movie. So, despite all of that, well, yes, objectively, it does have its redeeming qualities about it. But to me,
What?
I just could not stand this movie. Okay, you know what?
Yeah, there you
I
go.
will. Fine. I will bump this up. I'll bump it up to a 1.
Okay, that's fine. It's not a 0.
Because of the fact that I still think the actors do a good job.
There's good things.
There's good things.
Because I think the actors still give a good job, but it does not save this movie from being my least favorite movie of all time.
Okay, that's valid.
Because
Okay.
again, mostly, if anything, because of Mark Hamill. Like all the other acting could have been bad.
Mark Hamill bumps it up a
Hamill
couple.
is all it
Nostalgia.
would need to at least bump that up to just that 1.
I think Mark Hamill bumps it up a couple for me, honestly.
Nostalgia saved this movie.
Yeah, I'm sticking with a 1 out of 10.
I'm proud of you.
I
Progress.
still despise this movie. It's still my least favorite.
And we are
ever.
all entitled to our opinion.
Exactly.
You're entitled to yours.
Like you guys are fully have every right to give it a.
Oh,
4
still
and a-
below average movie.
Yeah, like you guys have every right to give it a 4 and a 5.
Do you think it's an
'Cause-
average movie?
Yeah,
Yeah, 5.
it's pretty average, pretty mid.
But yeah, so
It's
that's gonna do it for our review/rant about
You said
Last
review.
Jedi.
That's all. I'm happy.
No, I did review and pointed to YouTube.
Yeah, but you said it out loud.
Yeah, no, I will, because that does it for the review/rant of The Last Jedi. Next time, it's not gonna get
Just
any better.
keeps going downhill. It just keeps going downhill.
Next time we're doing the finale
It's a little bit better.
with, I'd say it's a little bit better, with the Rise of Skywalker.
It's enjoyable.
I find more enjoyment out of that than I did out of this.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
We will. But, yep, that's gonna have to do it for The Last Jedi. Thank goodness it's done.
And somehow, Palpatine
And
is alive.
next time, we'll get to that. Yeah, next time we're going to be wrapping up our Star Wars reviews with The Rise of Skywalker. And then after that, we are going to do, depending on who all was in that review, we are going to do a collective ranking.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Okay.
all our opinion on all these.
We'll
and, like, our list all together.
we'll all have our own list, but we'll all compile it into one list, and then we could like go movie by movie and say what we
Okay,
think
like a
if we
ranking.
rank it higher or lower than that.
All right.
But
Yeah,
we're not going to
sure.
do all individually our own list. We'll all
All
like
collectively agree.
compromise.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, depending on who all is.
Okay. Negotiations.
Negotiations.
Because you two are definitely
Aggressive,
gonna be in there.
Aggressive
negotiations.
So you two are definitely going to try and be in there. Hopefully Taylor and Caden as well.
Yeah.
But anyways, yep, that's good to do it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm sure, even if you are Star Wars fans, I'm sure everybody's going to enjoy this video. Also, one last thing, the Porgs, I hate them. But anyways, that's
They're
gonna do it for this review of The Last Jedi. Review/rant of The Last Jedi. Stay tuned where we finish off the Star Wars movies where we really don't get that much better. For Logan, we get worse. For me and Jonah, we get like maybe this much better. Like the size of a salt grain, a little bit better. But anyways, I have a headache now. See you later,
I
pets.
have a headache.